So the business model is about compression. So we're delivering storage and transport solutions for the global hydrogen market. We do that with our own proprietary design for a green hydrogen gas carrier. And so our competitive advantage is around the use of compression. Compression is a known technology. It offers us the advantages of a significant reduction in capital and energy intensive processes. So by being first to market, we're using existing technologies and we're using a much lower capital base to do that. The way we go to market is in two ways: a midstream offering, which we're focusing in Europe, which is compression, a fleet of ships and decompression and port solutions. And also down here in Australia, we're offering our own molecules where we're developing an upstream project called the TWH2. And in that, we're integrating our own shipping solutions, delivering molecules to the high growth markets of Asia. Well, Europe's been, in the last 24 months, probably the leader in developing its strategies and approach to achieving their net zero targets. And in each of the last 12-month periods, we've seen them become more aggressive and certainly accelerate the requirement to bring forward decarbonisation. And that's also drawn with it some key industrial use cases. So as well as having a strong regulatory framework, incentives becoming more evident and more in place, you've started to see the end users become more visible in the market. And you've also then got ports looking at developing solutions. And then you obviously in Europe, you've got the H2 backbone, which is a great way of servicing the large industrial base across the Netherlands and then into Germany, where you see the most active use case. It certainly is a major milestone for Provaris. You know, all emerging companies that have developing a new product either need sales or validation from a large third party, and we certainly have that in the form of our first MOU with a large energy major being Total. So Total are a part of the Total Energies group, and we've been working with them for a number of months, almost a year. And so what that means is it's the first time publicly we've had true validation of what is the path to acceptance of our solution in their portfolio. And certainly that presents the opportunity case for compression to be not only a competitive, but also a simple and efficient method of using a marine transport solution within their portfolio projects. Total have a large portfolio of existing renewable assets, which have been in operation for many years. And they've since announced a series of projects, both in the Australian Asian market, in North Africa, and focusing getting supply into the European market. So we certainly have identified opportunities within their portfolio. And I hope you'll see over the coming months that we advance through to something more definitive and announceable in terms of which of those projects and what markets we're actually going to deliver into. I think you've seen evidence of all major projects have some level of policy support or government support in terms of either financing or incentives. So we've seen in the last month, we've seen the EU announce a large investment pool of capital to support the emergence of green hydrogen projects. So they will be contributing in the form of, I guess it'll be either debt or equity. The details are not clear, but it's been $3 to $5 billion of European funding will be applied to the emerging projects. You've also then got the emergence of a number of green investment banks in different regions, and then you have a lot of large institutional pension or sovereign funds that are certainly chasing green investments. So I think the capital is emerging. It's been around in the form of onshore renewable assets for some time. You've started to see a strong performance of those assets. And I think the transition into hydrogen as another commodity and a way of moving that green energy is certainly emerging. Supporting that in the background, you've got rules around what is going to be determining a green hydrogen project. So the additionality rules that were also announced, they're trying to incentivize supply. So I think all of these projects need investment grade partners and balance sheets, but there's certainly going to be further incentives take place. And then we have the aspect of carbon pricing. So carbon pricing is traded from 30 to 100 euros, and at currently trading perhaps around 50, 60 euros. So I think the carbon tax is going to continue to play a role, and just on gas prices alone in Europe, you've now seen green hydrogen be competitive in terms it can be, very competitive. So there's a super cycle coming here in hydrogen. I think we've moved away from it being not competitive to a competitive environment. And then when you add incentives and funding support, then an element of carbon tax, it's certainly fundable today. So it's very exciting. Yeah, so each of the transport methods, ours is compression. So we have a simple amount of compression near or close to the jetty. We need a fairly standard jetty profile or port facilities, given we have an 8-metre draft on our vessel. So there are a number of port facilities which are already applied to, and then compression on its own uses existing loading arms at higher pressures. So we're actually trying to remove the additional requirements of storage, onshore storage, conversion and reconversion aspects. If you then go to liquefaction, LH2 solutions, they'll be looking at conversion and reconversion facilities. And then ammonia, which is quite a well-proven pathway, but you then have to install facilities for cracking and purification. So each method and application will be unique to the end-use application. So I think there's a number of infrastructure assets that we needed to be built, but already we are seeing in Europe ports enable themselves for the acceptance of hydrogen. The Port of Amsterdam, or Rotterdam, for example, I should say, is being very active globally. We've been working with one of the European operators of ports in Netherlands and Germany. They are getting ready to have a compression-ready terminal available. So I think you'll see ports come online, and then obviously there's the pipeline and backbone. So you've already seen the H2 backbone initiative be developed. That's now moving through a consortium across Europe, and you'll start to see access to that pipeline from 2024 onwards. So I think there is a number of infrastructure assets that need to be built. We look at compression as a simple and efficient way of utilizing existing assets. And I think getting access to pipeline and certain specific assets will certainly advance the whole of the hydrogen economy.